Almighty, we thank you for this day and ask you to send us your Holy Spirit so that we may be able to understand each other through this sharing that we are going to do. It may enlighten us for us also to be more close to God and go outside to spread the good news. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
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 In the name of the
Thank
Father,
you
the
very
Son,
much.
and
Amen.
Amen.
Thank
the
you
Son.
very much, Bernard.
We come.
Yes, to everybody, those who are new and those who have always been to this class. Today, we are discussing about mental health and relationships. We all belong to families. We all belong somewhere. We have our families. We have our friends. How do we relate to them? And in this today, we are going to have a speaker who will give us just some little talk about our relationship and also about mental health. Then it will be a an open discussion in which everybody is welcome to be able to say something. And in this discussion,
Mhm.
if you have a question to the speaker, you will be able to ask her either in the chat or personally in her inbox so that she'll be able to respond. So feel free to be able to ask a question if you have one. I think she has not yet joined. So Lynn, you can welcome the people as I call her to join.
Yeah, so hi guys. Okay, nikisemanga hivyo nafikanga nikaa ni vlog. Um, okay, as brother has said, welcome. It's fun to have these conversations. It helps us to learn from each other. See ati kila time is we are just listening. At times we also need to put our own input. And some of these things are things we experience every single day. Every single day we are relating to someone. Every single day we are talking to someone. Every single day we have a special connection with someone. So we are hoping that with time we will be bringing a lot of this. We will be alternating with our usual learning so that we are able to interact with each other. We get to si kila siku ni kusikiza. There are times that we get to share our own opinions and even share what we are going through. If you feel up to the task to share some of the experiences we have, it might help someone else somewhere who may not be as confident as we are or as you are to speak about it. So feel free to share. Feel free to share about your thoughts, your opinions. We're here to learn. No answer or no opinion is wrong or right. We just get to know. And yeah, that's the whole point of this. So yeah, and for it to be interesting, also we can actually continue chatting in the group chat. Some of the questions you can post them there. As the speaker will be talking, you can post some of them. We will take note of them. And this Zoom call is actually being recorded and it's live on YouTube. So if you need to see it, if you need to share it, invite your friends if you think a friend will benefit. Doesn't have to be Catholic, doesn't have to be from St. Jude. Invite everyone because that's the point. Making such conversations to be for everyone, and even those ones who can't access or something, they are able to learn from. We get to learn. So yeah, that's it. Um, but as we wait, I'd like to know how we are at the moment. A few of us can actually unmute and how we are at this point, because one of the reasons why this discussion became important is because from the survey we were doing, it's one of the topics that came out. I think everyone mentioned it. They wanted us to cover on relationships. And I think that that just shows how important it is to all of us. Yes, and relationship doesn't have to be intimate. And I think we will cover that as we will be talking. It's, as I say, every single day we talk to someone, and that's a relationship, whether it's an acquaintance, a friend, a stranger. So all that. And it's time now we talk about it. So yeah. Brother umempata. Hmm.
Hello.
Yes.
Welcome again to all of us. And as I had said in the beginning, that we will have a short presentation by our guest speaker today. Then after that, we will have an open discussion. This evening, I'd like to invite our guest speaker. She's my mom. She's called Anne Mareka. And I now give her the opportunity to be able to tell us something, to tell us something about relationship and mental health. Then we'll be able to have an open discussion after that. Feel welcome, Mom.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you see this funny face?
Yes, they can. Only that they don't have microphones on, so they cannot reply.
Okay, it's okay. I can see their smiles, acknowledging that they can see me. I don't know. Yes, I'm excited to be here in this platform. As Steve has said, I'm a very strict mother. I don't know whether he'll say I am very strict, but I'm very friendly also. And I'm glad to be here. And when he requested me to come and share on those two items, I wasn't scared because maybe as way of introduction, I am a mother of three, 2 daughters and 1 son. My firstborn daughter is 37 this year in August. My second-born daughter just turned 31 in June this month. And I have a last-born son who is 19, who just joined university. So when I'm speaking to you, I want to feel like I'm speaking to my own children. So feel free. At the end of the session, just interrupt me. Maybe we can have a side chat where you privately can ask a question and I'll respond without mentioning who your name is. That is a way of also being able to discuss some of the questions you would have without anyone knowing who has asked. But I don't think that should be a problem. So about relationships, I didn't know where to start because you cannot start any relationship if you do not have a relationship with yourself. I always start by saying that because if you do not have a relationship with yourself, I'm telling you the truth, you will not be able to have a relationship with anyone. So before you even start having that relationship, it's good to sort yourself out, you know, do a checklist of who the person you are. Because when you meet people, you want them to behave the way you behave yourself. You want them to have the character that you have. And one thing is that we are all unique. God created us, everyone is unique. I have given birth 3 times, but there is no one who is like the other. Everyone is special to me. Everyone is unique. I have had 2 daughters. They are 2 diverse people, but they all came and they all came from my womb. So you can never compare yourself with anyone. So are you ready for a relationship? And what kind of a relationship? When we think about relationship, many people will just think about the opposite sex. But you also need to have friends who are your gender, who are girls, who are boys, if you're a boy. So I just want to go through it with you, because first you have to love you. You don't have to hear people telling you whether you are cute or not. You're already fearfully and wonderfully made. And nobody looks like the other. I am a grandmother now. I said my two daughters are married. Both of them are married. And the first daughter has a son who is turning 14 this November. And the other one is turning 9 this year also. And my second born daughter has a grandson, my grandson who is 3 years. But I have to love me. You can see I'm Shosho Manyanga if you want to call me, yeah. I'm still there. You can see I'm still there, you know, because life is about you. It's about that unique person that God created you. You are not a mistake. You are not, you don't have to wait for anyone to say that you have good eyes or to say that you have ears that look like Jamie Foxx or anyone. Those are your ears and you hear everything. If you have teeth, those are your teeth. Whether they are climbing on top of each other, give a fat smile. Someone will fall in love with those teeth. So this is just an example of, you know, starting to have that relationship. You really have to accept the person you are, so that if that other person doesn't always, you know, recognize those things that you have, it's okay. You will not mind. You love yourself, you love your hair, you love your voice, you love everything. Have that relationship with yourself that you can even hug you. Because there are people out there who have no one to hug them. So I'm excited to just, you know, just say that the first step of relationship is to have a checklist of yourself, the emotions that you feel, the feelings that are locked up in your heart. You need to have a checklist. If you have a past pain, if you do not sort it out, you will expect somebody else to sort out your past issues. There are people who grow up with very difficult, you know, coming from very difficult families where maybe even a parent considered you to be useless. Maybe you are neglected. Maybe you are the black sheep of your family. There is nothing like black sheep before the eyes of God. You are all equal. Whether there is one in the house who cleans the whole house and cooks dinner for the whole family, before the eyes of God, you are all alike. So the checklist is very, very important. The checklist will help you check what your emotions are and feelings are. Do not look at the age. Most of you say, oh, I'm even 19 and I've not started dating. So we want to do a checklist and check what is dating. I always, you know, when my own children started dating, they would say, I would ask them, you have a date? And they would say, no. They get so angry. They don't have a date. So I would ask, describe for me what dates are. You know, why are you getting offensive? I thought a date is just a day that you set and then you meet. I didn't want to think beyond that. So that's what I'm saying for now. I want us to check ourselves. Do I have uncontrolled anger? If I'm in my own home, I cannot stand my brother talking to me. I cannot stand being corrected by my parents or even a younger sister or an elder sister. You'll never be corrected by anyone. If you meet this guy or this girl, they will always be offensive. You know, they will always be defensive whenever you try to correct or to suggest or to say something. So the checklist, which we are doing now, I guess my son told me the age bracket, I'm expecting between 15 and maybe 30. I don't know how old you young people are, but I'm saying this is the right time because I'm talking from experience. I speak to a lot of youths. I go to schools, in different schools, and I speak to girls and boys. And I know right now, many are asking, how will I get the most beautiful woman? I want to have somebody who is right. How do I tell whether this person is good? We are not God. For me, I want the best girl for my son. I don't want anybody who will come and harass my baby's mind. So every parent they want the best for you. Even me, when my daughters were getting married, I didn't know. Every day it's a prayer that they will live in harmony and peace, and every day love each other, and every day renew their love. And it is possible. For me, I've been married for over 30 years, so it's workable. I'm still having my funny smile. I don't have scratches like those of a cat, but I know life is not easy. So to encourage you right now, do a checklist of the emotions that you feel, the feelings that you feel. If you have any past pains or inner wounds, because there are people who are wounded. When we look at the youth, maybe some of the youth, they come from a very, very, very poor family. Because of the poverty, maybe they've gone through a lot. Others come from abusive families where there were fights all over. The only story you can remember, I know you guys are fine, the only story you can remember seeing your dad or mom, it's fights or maybe yelling at each other. So you already have a lot of inner wounds. So the first step is you try to talk it out. Try to get counsel. Try to talk with someone as you write down your list of emotions. Then you need to have another checklist about your addictions. What do you love? What do you do with yourself? Live alone with people. There are many things that happen. There are people who are so hooked up to many things. They drink, they smoke, they take drugs. If you do not check that out, you will take the drugs all through your life. So these are things that happen. I do walks, I walk along holding hands with young people who are also struggling with other bad habits. You know what I am speaking about? Lesbianism, there is masturbation, there is homosexuality, there is pornography. You get addicted to pornography that you cannot even deal without it. But God is there. This is to encourage you. Even if I speak like this and you know a friend or you've never been in this, just be encouraged that God can help you have self-control. So if you get into a marriage and you are hooked up on watching pornography, you'll never see your wife. You'll never see that beautiful woman. You'll always be remembering that woman that you saw in that pornography thing. You'll start imagining those, the ding-dongs that you saw there. You see, in the the people who do pornography, they've been paid to do it. And maybe the selection is who has the biggest, you know what I'm talking about. So it's a show off. People are different. They will not be the same. Everybody is created in God's own image and likeness. And that ding-dong rises depending on the thoughts that this person has. So don't blame yourself. If those bad habits came because you are going through something and you discovered the only thing that you can console yourself with was with yourself, watching pornography, touching yourself, having the toy, all these things are there. I went to a boarding school. I know there is even one girl who was caught with that gadget, the electrical ding dong, you can imagine, and people were queuing in her cubicle to go and, sort themselves out. But that was a stage that passed. God is able to forgive us. God is able to give you self-control. Your young people who are looking forward to getting into careers, to getting ready to be in relationships and also to make money. Most of the relationship, if you have nothing to offer, you can't even take somebody to a movie, you are considered like, why should we start struggling when we are still young? So the checklist is, are you okay with your career also? I've talked about addictions. I've talked about bad habits. They happen to almost everyone. I have worked for over 30 years. I know guys, old men who are your grandparents, maybe some of you are older than me, and they watch pornography. The moment the boss is not there, they turn to pornography. It is demonic. It is something that you need to pray to get out of it. Addictions also on phones. There are people who can't do without phones. Recently, there was a case of suicide. Somebody, just because they were denied to use the phone, they committed suicide. What for? You go straight to hell just because of a phone, and you can just sacrifice and go and buy, once you get to your career path and you do what you have to do, you buy yourself the best phone you want. Even if you want one for the toilet, the other one for the kitchen, and the other one for social or for what? But do I say, hold on, there's time for everything, you know? So I'm just going through the checklist so that you can also go through your checklist. There is a reason why we are discussing this now. Do not condemn yourself, because God does not condemn you. Do not condemn, do not blame anyone. Until you know me, I masturbate 5 times per day because my mother really mistreated me. She was never there for her. Your mother is nowhere. You know what is right and you know what is wrong. You know everything. You know why you do what you do. So check your addictions. Then check on bitterness. Bitterness, there are people who are so filled with bitterness. Bitterness because they don't get what others are getting, because of peer pressure, because of various things that happen, because of trying to compare yourself with others. Everyone is unique. Don't check your bitterness, whether you have any bitterness, whether you have any uncontrolled anger, whether you are addicted to drink, smoking, drugs, whatever it is. There are others who don't do any of those addictions, but they are so addicted with food. There are people who think of food and they go crazy. So check all those small things that do not make sense. Check whether you compare yourself with others, because we will never be the same. Everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own path. If your vocation is to get married, you will get married. If you are supposed to become a priest, like my son here, this is the formation where he is. It doesn't mean that his eyes have curtains, that he doesn't admire beautiful girls, but he has to have self-control. I pity him, because the moment he becomes a priest, every girl will go around him because they need counsel. I don't know how he's gonna, have self-control, but he has to pray for it. It's a daily prayer for each one of us. Even me, when I'm a grandmother already, I have to have self-control. Macho hayana pazia. My eyes still can see handsome men. I can still, desire when I see young girls with hairstyles. You can see I already have one. As long as they don't make me sin, then I'm okay. So we have the addiction, and the Bible is very clear about addiction. If you go to we will discuss the Bible verses later, but there's a verse in Proverbs 23 verse 20 that says, don't associate with people who drink too much. It depends also with your friends. If I walk with you and you drink until morning, I would like to keep you company. By and by, I'll be sipping. By the time I know it, I'm also a drunkard. And if I don't have money, the next temptation is stealing. People don't steal because they were born as thieves. They steal because they have a want. And if they can't get, and especially for young people, you start stealing one item. Even those items that your parents have bought for you, you will find yourself, raising your hands and stretching your hand, and you become, you have a long hand. Then the relationship, I know it's a very huge topic, but I want us to first discover who we are and know that God loves us always. Even as I've spoken all these things, if you're going through any addiction, it is well. If you can't speak to your age mates about the addiction, I have many people who speak to me about these things, because people struggle with a lot of stuff. Like now, I know things are tough. This COVID has locked you in. Most of you can't just comfortably and freely just go along with your kind of life that you had. Even if it was just going to town and meeting with your friends and chit-chatting and saying many sweet nothings and getting happy, it was something different. But I want to remind you that even us, we are locked in. My husband, when he is going to another room, he sees my funny face. He goes to the kitchen, he finds me there. You know, small things are making us even get irritable. So it's not only you, we are also human beings. It doesn't matter how old we are. Everything is happening. Everybody has changed their lifestyle, even small babies. But I can imagine the youth, even as we pass through there, you have another energy. Sijui, I don't know whether inatokaga kwa shetani ama inatokaga kwa Mungu. There's a lot of energy. You feel like you're going to burst. But I want to comfort you and tell you, you can never burst. God will not give you a body that you cannot handle. Every organ in your body is relevant and it is useful, but there is time for everything. So for relationship, our first step is to take a checklist. You know, the way you check, when you do, if you're in school, you check whether you have read all the topics so that you know if an exam comes, you will be able to sit for that exam. The checklist of your life, before you even wait for somebody out there to tell you, you are so handsome, you are so cute, or you're so beautiful. Just check yourself and love the person you are, because you cannot change. I've experienced, I went to Zambia and I was talking to the youth, and there were so many beautiful girls, that black beauties. Another school, which was day school, and most of them were colored. So they looked like wazungus on the face, but their hands were dark. Yani akiekelea mkono hivi, you wonder whether it's another person touching that person. Just wanting to love themselves, just wanting to compare themselves with other people. Be the person you are. The beauty of anyone is what they have in their heart. So all of us are beautiful. I want us to first agree, all of us, the guys and the ladies, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And God has already destined the person who will ask you to marry, who will ask to marry you, or the lady that God will direct you to propose. Nothing will end. You still have your gadgets intact. When you want to buy a car, would you want to go and buy a second-hand car? It's your choice. But most people would want a brand new car where you read the manual. So this is also about life. You will not be judged, or somebody is recording how many times you did stuff. But one thing is, how does it make you feel? You're not God. You will never know if this is the right person. But if you love God first, he will direct you to the person who will love you for who you are. That's why you find a couple where the guy is very handsome, physique, everything, and has married somebody who is a disabled person. Because it's not about the outward appearance, it's the heart of that person. It's not about the education. It's not about whether you come from a rich family or not. It's not even tribe. It's not even where you come from. That is genuine love. That is genuine relationship. When kids are playing outside, you'll find kids do not even ask someone, wewe ni Kikuyu ama wewe ni hii? They don't. They play together, they share things together. That's how God wanted us to start off. So if you, I don't know whether Steve, people are side chatting me. I see the questions they are putting in.
Just continue, then you will reply when you're done.
Okay, if they're able to write something, they can put something, but it's okay. You know, when you continue speaking alone, you feel like you're alone, because I can see all of them are very serious. Are you there? Just wave at me, at least nijue siongeleshi. Okay, so we are together. So I was very shocked. In fact, we were just discussing this at dinner, that during this pandemic, in Machakos County, only 4,000 girls are pregnant. And I'm wondering, I know it's not through osmosis. I'm just wondering, I just want to hear, I would want to hear what you guys are going through, because life is not just about sex. Because now it shows these pregnant girls are between 10 years. Imagine the youngest was 10 years old. Can you imagine a baby sister? And the person who has impregnated this girl must be somebody who's already through puberty and they are ejaculating, you know? So I'm just wondering, you know, and that is just one county. So what will happen to them? Some of them are in primary schools. Some of them are even babies. If you think at over 10-year-old, that's my grandson, very young. So I want you to take this opportunity during this COVID to just love you. I know most of you, there are people who are not even taking showers and they're just hopeless. You know, cleanliness is next to godliness. If you look shaggy, even your head will be shaggy, even your heart will be shaggy, your thoughts will be shaggy. So arise every morning with hope. The people who discovered computers or discovered new inventions, they just sat, they just thought. This is a moment for you to come out with a new rocket, something that has never happened. It's amazing what God has put in you guys. It's amazing what you can do. You don't have to have money. So the checklist is a long one. I give you as a challenge that you are going to check whether you love yourself, check whether you have humor, because like me, there are things and I laugh at myself. Because you should have that joy, that everybody who meets you, you infect them with your joy, with your laughter. There are people you meet and you just want to be around them. When you are stressed, you just want to be around them because they bring joy to your life. They bring hope. So this is something. Thank you very much. I can see chats are coming. I will not mention any name, but I'll just look at them. I hope they don't disappear very fast. Let me check the chat. Okay. So the checklist, that one I give you as a homework. For girls, check yourself out. I know some of us from puberty, we start becoming very grumpy and very moody. One day you wake up smiling, the next one is wondering whether whole night devils were chasing you, you know, you do not know. So it's not anybody's fault, but you make a fault to anyone. I'm saying even guys, you know, those moody things, if you don't capture them now and check them out now to be able to change them, even in your marriage, you'll be a very miserable person. Yes, the wedding can be a very big wedding with glamour and everything, but you will have just as miserable life as you have even when you think, I wish I was married. Even when you get married and you carry your anger, you carry your emotional distress, you carry all those things, that relationship will not work. So, but there is hope. If it has worked for me, it will work for many people. Because it is just patience. God gives you patience. If you love God, You know, he allows you to umwambie kila kitu. You speak to God, you know, the way you speak it, the way you speak so genuinely, even if it is something weird, utaacha ukijichekelea unaambia Mungu, enyewe nimekuambia makubwa. Lakini you'll have talked to God. That is your first contact. So I will go to courtship. Courtship, it's something that is supposed to happen, but it doesn't happen a lot because people just find themselves in. One of the girls who was interviewed, pregnant, one of the young girls from Machakos County, said that they just met, and by the time she knew it, she was pregnant. And I think it's a big lie. How do you just meet someone and you get pregnant? All of us would be pregnant. So there must have been a relationship. I don't like it when people say I was trapped or I was lied to. You are not a child that you were lied to. You cannot be tricked. Somebody says, that lady trapped me and she knew she would become pregnant so that I stick with her. That is not true. Nobody forces you. You take yourself, you get what you want. So, but I'm not blaming you. Emotions are there, but we have been given the gift of the Holy Spirit, which gives you self-control. So many people have relationships that don't work also because of the relationships that you have with your parents. If you have an abusive father, you'll never trust any man. If you have a father who lied to you, promised you things and they never did, you will go with that mentality even when you meet this other person. Same thing to the guys. Some of them, if they are so close to their moms, they want everybody who looks like their mom, but they'll never get, because everybody is unique. But I'm telling you, most of the boys or the girls, when they are looking for the relationships, there is something that attracts them that either is from their parents or their sisters. So you cannot force yourself. And even if you force yourself, then you will have a relationship throughout your life that you will be forcing yourself to be noticed, to be loved. So we go to courtship so that we can be able to answer some of the questions. Courtship, I always ask, what is courtship? Is it dating? Is dating courtship? Is dating biblical? Is it holy? Dating. Is it something that gives you joy? Everybody wants to be loved. Even those who are in primary school, they want to be loved. But I just want to know, when you're getting into a relationship, what is it that you are looking for? Is it sex? Is it a lasting relationship? Is it just a cloud that is passing? Is it satisfaction? Is it gratification? What is it that you want? You can't force anyone to love you. You can't steal somebody's heart, the heart of someone. You cannot steal. You can steal their clothes, you can steal their looks, you can steal everything. But the heart that is hidden, it is only God who knows what is in somebody's heart. So most people, if you tell them, so you have a date, they just think of one thing. No, Sina, I'm just meeting. I don't have, we're just going for a movie. Nobody said that you are going to do other things. Somebody just says, so you have a date. My second born daughter, I remember when she was given her first date, she came and said, this guy was asking me for a date. I said, yeah, that's fine. And he asked for coffee. I said, yeah, it's okay. That's a date. He said, no, mom, you don't understand. Then I said, no, he just wants to meet. He just wants you to arrange a date and then you meet for coffee. And then I said, why do you take it negatively? You have to meet people. You cannot marry or get married to a stranger. You have to meet and see what kind of a person this person is. Do they make you laugh when you are crying? Is it somebody you can open up and say everything and they don't even judge you and they don't even talk about you? Are you meeting someone who has a very blank page and a book that every day he's writing your story? And everybody in the world or around your friendship, they know everything. They can open to page 7 and see what happened. What is this relationship? Is it trustworthy? Is it a trustworthy relationship? Are you ready? If you're engaged intimately, are you ready to take care of a family? Are you ready to bring up children? Are you ready to live on your own, to be able to pay a house rent and pay your bills and feed yourself? Are you ready? So all these things are things that would make you start courtship, because courtship takes you to marriage. Friendship, you can have as many friends as possible. When I was in high school, most of my 70% of my friends were boys. When I started courtship, it was so hard for me to convince my then fiancé that these were not boyfriends. You know, boyfriends, as in I was not having any intimate relationship with them. But I found I could have so many friends. Even when I got married, most of my visitors who came to visit me were men. I respected them for who they were, because they respected me. So life, it's not just about sex. There are many things. You need to know whether you are ready to start a relationship. That is courtship. And courtship, according to God, it's holy. Because I know as youth, when you're in church, you do things together, you help each other, you join together. I know groups of young people who do things together and they make money. Even when they have looked for jobs and they can't get, they do things together, and they're boys and girls. I once was a banker and we went to South Africa. We were taken for training in South Africa. And when we went, I had young people between 25 and 30 there. I think I was the oldest there. And whenever we went out or where we were living, we were all, you know, they were so free. And I was wondering, during our time, it was not possible. But these people were very free. They would lie down together and no sin was committed. So it is possible to hold relationships that will help you to be able to identify the person that you need to get down with, to get serious and start courtship. Courtship is that relationship that now you decide, I want you to know my parents, I want to know your people, I want to experience the love of your family as I also experience the love of your family on the other side. So that is relationship, because I have found so many young people who get so broken when relationships do not work. And you can't force it. Even if somebody sticks with you, they're feeling sorry for you, whichever way it is. But how long will you continue feeling sorry for someone? You let them go and allow God to allow you to have somebody who will stick with you. You don't have to have dated 27 guys or 27 girls before you get married. It could be the first relationship and it lands you to marriage. So courtship is allowed. But you know what? Your parents or anyone will never know what goes behind the curtains when you have friendships. But God sees everything. God sees everything. He even sees our very thoughts. Sometimes I go to places where I'm just sharing and I can tell people who are not listening. I can see now they have removed my sweater. Now, you can tell. The Bible says even looking at a woman lustfully is a sin. The same way, even ladies looking at a man lustfully, then you commit sin. But how do you survive? Eyes do not have curtains, unless you young people have invented some curtains. There are no curtains. But God has given you self-control. I will check on what I can see here first. And then I see how do you ensure that you don't lose yourself in a relationship or friendship? Can we say that knowing self comes the intentionality of a relationship? Yeah, I keep on saying I've been married for over 35 years, and I can tell you, if you do not discover the person God created you to be, or if you do not love yourself, you will never force anyone to love you. I personally grew up in a very poor family because my father died when I was only 7 years old. I hated God. I could not understand how God is a loving God if he could kill my dad when I was only 7 years old. And when my dad was buried, my mother was rejected. So we were all sent to different places. And where I grew up hating myself. I believed I was the ugliest. I believed I was fat. I believed nothing good can come from me. But look at me now. I'm the most confident peacock. I walk because I discovered who God is and why he created me. So the first step, when I hated myself, even those guys who wanted to date me, I used to think they're just lying. I used to think, why are they loving someone like me? I would always go back to my cocoon, my tent, and say, I will amount to nothing. But today I'm the happiest. So you are so lucky when you're this young that you're able to discover yourself, to rediscover yourself, to love the person you are, to love the person God created you to be. Because Jeremiah 29 verse 11 says, the plans that God has for you are plans to prosper you, to give you a hope, and to give you a future. The fact that my dad died when I was 7 years old, and from 7 years old, I never stayed again with my own mother or my brothers and sisters, did not dictate the person I would become. Today, I'm proud. God has blessed me. There was no magic. God already has a seed of prosperity in you, a seed of even becoming, that person God created you to be. I never dreamt that I'll be working for United Nations. I work there. I've been working there for 17 years now. 14 years, I was in Citibank, one of the best banks. So the seed that God planted in me, with a mother or without a mother, with a father and without a father, I still became the person God wanted me to be. I still got somebody to marry me. Even if when I was young, I was even bullied, they would even say fatty, because I was extremely very fat, honestly speaking, because my solace, as I said, addiction, my solace was just to eat. When anybody who gets full in the house and there was some food in their plate, they would just bring it to me. But that one did not change. When this guy, who is my husband now, saw me, he fell in love with that fat soul. And here I am today, still with my big chubby cheeks. I know you are already admiring them. So I just want to say the beginning, as somebody is asking here, how do you ensure that you don't lose yourself in a relationship or friendship? Can we say that the knowing self comes the intentionality of a relationship? When you know yourself, then you don't give your whole heart, because you know you cannot be God. Even your mother cannot, even if you bring a very beautiful girl here and tell me, Mom, do you think this girl is the best? I will not know. I can only look at the outward appearance, and I know she can pretend. Whenever she comes to my house, maybe she'll be speaking with another voice, which I do not know. I don't know their heart. I can only tell my son, I'll say a rosary for you as we continue to ask God to direct your path. But I will never know whether this is the right person or not. Even me, when I was getting married, I didn't know whether I would last for over 30 years. But there I am. I'm still a happy person. My husband is my best friend. So the first step, when you love yourself, you become a friend to yourself, then you will marry your best friend, because that best friend will like the person you are. When my daughter was going to honeymoon, she told me, Mom, I'll not buy those two clothes. You know, those two lingeries, you know, those clothes, you know, girls, where are you? You know, those clothes, eh? I want you girls to wave me. Those clothes that you go, you are not a girl. So those clothes that they take to honeymoon, my daughter told me, I will not buy anything like that, because when we go back to our house, me, I'll still wear my polo neck and my socks, and because I feel cold at night. There's no pretense. In relationship, do not pretend, because how long will you pretend? How long? Be yourself. Let whoever love me the way I am. Like now today, maybe you will tell Steve, never invite that woman again, because I'm just being myself. You hate me, you love me, but I will not change. But I'll tell you, and I'll share what I can as a mother, as a grandmother. Because if there is any 14-year-old here, I'm their grandma. But I love you. You have a bright future. The Lord has you in mind. You are not forgotten. You will never be forgotten. Whatever you have gone through was just part of the mountain climbing and going through down the valleys. Your heart remains your heart forever and ever. So I want to say the friendship to yourself, that every morning you can hug yourself. You can touch every part of you and say, thank you, Lord, that I have my eyes, I have my ears, I have my hands, I have my mustache. And if it doesn't come, you wait for it to come. If it doesn't come, you're still wonderfully and fearfully made. I know when we joined Form 1, everybody wanted to have a dashboard. You know what I mean with the dashboard, the Brooksides for ladies? Yes, everybody wanted to have, but we could not do any abracadabra so that when these boys are coming for the dance, you show that you have some Brookside with you. But many people went out of their way. Those ones who hate themselves, they put some papers, borrowed some bras. But imagine how it was. The whole day you are wondering whether one has become bigger than the other because you have put some papers. But people who love themselves, they will just be the way they are. Whether with them or without them, people will love you for who you are from the deep inside your heart. And that person never changes, because that person in you can never pretend. If you pretend, you can only pretend for a few months or years if you wish. If you are an expert, you can go for a few years. But one day, you will be out with your true colors. Okay. Ensuring that a relationship lasts, I think it's openness, communication throughout. Before you get into serious relationship, it's good to sit down and count the cost of keeping this friendship. Because the fact that somebody has started to be your boyfriend doesn't mean that the other guys have stopped looking at you. There'll be a winner. You can date someone. I've seen my friends dating for 7 years and they just the relationship apparently doesn't work. And immediately when they part ways, you discover both of them have gone their ways and they've gotten into relationship and they have gotten married and they live happily after. You cannot force anyone to remain in the relationship. That's why when you put God, God will always make sure that your heart is not broken. Yes, people break, break your heart. Even when you're in marriage, sometimes it's not the best. It's not a bed always. There is no angels are in heaven. It's only you and God. Relationships are beautiful. You get happy, look forward to something. You get a confidence. But how many people are confident, have confidence? You speak about something, the moment you part ways and it's not working, or maybe you want to give each other some space, you start talking about that person. Yeah? They are like this. Even they are whatever is small, you start talking because you're angry and you're bitter. So take everything at a time. I would ask of us that after this, you are going to read Ecclesiastes chapter 3, that says that there's time for everything. There's to be born, time to die, time to this, time to make love. So there's time. If you go to verse 8, it talks about time also to make love. There's time for everything. Nowadays, for any relationship, the first thing people will be looking is what they can get from that person, the interest. And I think this is something we need really to talk about. Do we want to be friends with someone because of the interest I'm seeing, or because we share values with that person? Yes, you share values, because things can end. You marry a rich person or somebody, like for the young girls, I remember when I was speaking to young girls, when I was also young, they would say, I want a guy with 6 packs. But what people forget is those 6 packs, one day they will just be put together and you'll have one big tummy, which is the 6 packs have been put together. Physical appearance will change. Somebody can get, God forbid, into an accident and become a cripple. Somebody would be having a very good job today, and tomorrow the job goes. Somebody can be in a very thriving business, but tomorrow everything goes haywire. Hey, if you married because of money, if you married because this person is able to give you what they can, this lady has a big position in World Bank. Tomorrow the World Bank can retrench people, and she's no longer that person. So it's not about what somebody has. It's not about money. For us, we are still sticking. The best that was done to me was to take me to Uhuru Park. And we took a few photos, we know, with those flowers and everything, and had a boat ride. By the time I knew it, I was in the box. But it was a good relationship. It was not so expensive. Relationships should never be expensive for anyone. When you are marrying a young person, you are both young. Today he buys coffee, tomorrow buy coffee. It's not about money. I would hate to imagine that my son is struggling to get 100 bob to take a girl out. I want them to go and take a bottle of water, or they carry from home, or he asked me if I can do pancakes and he carries if he doesn't have money. Because it's not about money. It's not about the things that you can give. It's not about dressing. Because those dresses will go, the figures will change. If you have the 8 figure, I don't know, they say there is an 8 figure. Maybe me, I'm 11, I don't know. I don't know whether it gets better as it gets bigger. So the figures 8 will go. You will carry babies. So it's not about the outward appearance. It's that heart that doesn't change, the heart that God created, the heart that is full of compassion, the heart that is full of understanding, the heart that bubbles out with laughter and joy, the heart that can cry with you. the heart that can hold your hand, the heart that can wipe away your tears, the heart that enters your shoes and walks with you, the heart that will even carry you on your back if you are not in good health, if you are weak. I am lucky. I have daughters and I have a son. I would not even imagine that somebody would mistreat my son. I love him so much. I'm not saying that I'll go and start boxing them, but I'll go down in prayer that the Lord will shelter my son not to be mistreated by anyone. I carried him in my womb for 9 months, for good 9 months. So every parent, everyone wants a thriving relationship where nobody is taking advantage of the other. Things will go. Things will disappear. But what will remain is just you and that person you married. So as you create relationship, make sure you'll never get into a relationship because there is peer pressure. Maybe your parent is telling you, now you have reached 30 years and there is no one. Don't worry, it is never late. Let me see another question. Our interests, somebody has acknowledged that our interests become, the downfall, our downfall. Because if you are looking at that interest, at that outward thing, at that material item, at that connection, because I'm connected with a very famous family and everything, that's not you. Even if your father is the president, he's not the one who is coming to run your relationship. Your father is so unique. You are very unique. Whether he dated 18 girls before marriage, that is his business, that was seen. So be that person who is ready to walk with someone who has your virtues and understand your virtues. How do you support a person you are currently in a relationship with who might be dealing with childhood trauma and this has led to smoking? I think when I started, it was, I said we need to do a checklist of the addictions we have. If you are already in a relationship and somebody is addicted, I don't know whether it is smoking bang or whether they are smoking marijuana or I don't know, whatever addiction it is. I know smoking is so difficult to immediately abandon. When I married my husband, he had smoked for 33 years. I didn't have a problem with it when we were dating. And in fact, I loved the smell of the puff. But when we started getting children and there was that campaign that cigarette is bad, the smoking is very harmful, I started forcing him to stop smoking. And it was not easy because he loves me. He would always tell me, this is the last packet I'm doing. And he would throw even the pieces in the dustbin. But at night, I would sneak to him when he's trying to light those ones that we threw in the dustbin. And it was very difficult. And but the positive side is be patient. Try to be his keeper, like to say, if I'm doing 10, let's try this month, I'll try to reduce by half. I'll do 5. And then you openly have that patience and walking with him and getting any help. There are some chewing gums, they say, when they have the menthol or whatever it is in the cigarette, what is that thing in the cigarette, whatever it is called, it will help him, help him or her, because even girls smoke, it will help them eventually stop. But I can say prayer. I kept on encouraging my husband because I would not divorce him. He was already a father to my children. I kept on encouraging him to say, just try one day. You just lighten there before you start your first puff. You ask God, you tell God about the cigarette. Tell God that this is a small thing. This is a small thing which I have tried to stop and I can't stop. So when he would say that is blasphemy. But one time he decided, let me just do what my wife keeps on telling me to do. And when he attempted, he was shocked because he tried, and then he said, okay, God, I surrender. Let this be the last one. What? He tried to smoke and he really coughed, he vomited. And then he laughed and said, God, you cannot come quickly like that. So at 11, it was around, he says it was around morning, 8 o'clock. At 11, he said, now I know that was just a mistake. I would try to puff this one. And again, he couldn't. And that is how he stopped. And we celebrate over 15 years of a life without smoking. So it is possible. Patiently, if you want to help somebody who is doing it, patiently let them deny themselves as a fast, and also patiently don't condemn yourself in one day. Just gradually purpose, like the way you purpose, you'll do something and tell God, help me. God is always available to help anyone who asks for help. God is always available. I don't know, how do you support a person who is currently in a relationship with who might be dealing with childhood trauma? That one we have said. There are many counselors who you can walk with your friend also sharing. I know for me, I had to attend so many retreats. You know, these retreats where you go and they say inner healing, and the preachings really helped me. I was able to forgive my mom for not going with me after my dad died. I was able to forgive my brothers and sisters for not questioning where I'm not growing up with them. I had to forgive many people, and wherever I was living with my auntie, there was a bit of mistreatment. I had to be able to forgive, and also the trauma of not having a dad in my life. It was very painful for me. I know for many years I never used to say our Father because I never used to want to address God our Father, because I would ask, why would I address him, yet he took my own father? So those trauma, counseling, and also having somebody you can talk about with and cry out and, you know, do a walk with this person. Sometimes it won't just happen like magic, but there are many, there are many people who offer counseling even for free. And also attending a prayer retreat, maybe 3 days of retreat, just to speak about inner healing. I know I've been invited to many groups that lock themselves maybe to a place from Friday to Sunday, and we go through the motions of just asking God to come and heal, because people really need healing. There are people who are even of age and they are still suffering something that happened in their childhood. Some girls are raped, and that trauma is so difficult. Some men are sodomized. So many things happen, but with God, as Philippians 4:13 says, that we can do everything through Jesus who strengthens us. So be encouraged. Whoever is working with this person, do not abandon them, because they can be up tomorrow and the next day they have gone back to the same place where you started. Don't give up on them. Pray for them, and I'm sure this God is full of mercy, and at a blink of an eye, God can change things. So God healed me, and he can heal you too. So nothing is impossible with God. What can this generation borrow from the old generation in terms of having substantial and meaningful relationship? I know our relationships were very outdated. If we speak about how we dated, people would, I speak to our children and they laugh until they tear, because our relationships were so easy, there was nothing much pegged around it, and we got married without knowing what to expect. It's like you were somewhere and the water just carries you and you find yourself in another bank of the river. But the thing I would say is patience. Patience you can borrow. The young people nowadays in these generations, they have no patience at all. And then the virtue of keeping holiness, that one I know because of the media and social whatever, all these platforms that offer alternatives for sexual, the emotional feelings and all those things, pornography. People do not value relationship. If you have nothing that you are offering, I know young people in the office, they say it's either my way or you face the highway. So that's a very bad attitude, because eventually you can get the best jobs, you can get the best cars and houses that you want, but if you have no one to love you and enjoy all those things, then you will be a very miserable person and a very sad person who does not enjoy anything. Somebody who will complain even when butterflies are flying around them. There are those grumpy people who, even when they see butterflies getting gracefully enjoying their lives, they complain and they curse them. They say, Shindwe. So you don't want to be that kind of a person. So there's a lot to borrow about self-control, forgiveness. I can tell you about relationships. I would want you as a takeaway, a take home that you can read Corinthians chapter 13 that says, love does not keep a record of wrongs. Love is not boastful. Love, love is love. It doesn't have any attachments. It doesn't look at somebody, their physique. It doesn't look at what that person has. The only thing they need to offer is love and comfort. That when you are around this person, you feel peaceful. When you are around this person, you don't even have to say words, but you just feel happy and comfortable and you feel loved. There is no one who is ugly, so beauty fades. When we were younger, when I was a sweet 16, like you guys, I was so cute from what I had then. I don't know whether that one remains because it's just like a car. If you buy a car, within no time, you need to add some spare parts. And by the time you are selling the car or getting rid of it, it's very old. It even makes noise. So the body, physique and physical appearances will change. So you need to be patient with one another. You need to have a very open communication. Communication. Even those who are in school, we know that communication takes, especially body language. 60% of communication is on body language. So the first appearance and how you behave and how you do things, it's the body. The body communicates. If you want to be in a whole relationship and your body communicates that you want something else, that is very clear because it's 60%. The uncommunicated is only 40, and that's what we communicate. So don't keep grudges waiting for the other person to come and apologize. Be humble enough to apologize. If you really made a mistake, apologize and get together. Do not wait for a long time to elapse, because the devil works on that space. The space that you have given each other, not to forgive each other, not to talk about what separated you or made you angry. That space should be very, very small, because if you want to have a lasting relationship, apologize. There is no hero. Anybody should apologize. And the Bible says in Ephesians 4:26 that do not allow the sun to set in your anger. You can get angry, but don't allow the sun to set in your anger. What about if you don't wake up tomorrow and you really hurt somebody so badly? God forbid, if you're told they died, you will always feel guilty that I really insulted that girl. And then the Lord will start reminding you how you have done things together, how you loved each other, how she respected you or something like that. So get angry, yes. Don't call names. Because you call someone names, Every time they'll be remembering what you angrily told them they are. It will never disappear from their mind. Even if you say sorry. So even if you don't, if in a relationship, if you get angry, do not call names. If you have to call them, just call them their names in a different tone. Wewe, but don't say wewe mbwa ama. You cannot be in a relationship with a dog unless you are a dog yourself. So don't call names. So be patient, and if you have to argue, just argue in a kind way, because you are not arguing with somebody you collected from a dustbin. You can recount of many things that you have done together, and you are happy. One thing should not break that relationship. You move on, you will get into another relationship, and you'll find it will be the same story. If you dare share how you broke the previous one, the next relationship, they will use the same weapon to destroy you. So be forgiving what you can borrow, have some self-control. It is possible. It is possible you can chill. Nothing will interfere with what God gave you. So we are still moving on. Is my time over? I stop? Steve, can I stop?
No, until you are finished.
Okay, I can't finish, but I'll try to deal with the questions now. I can go on and on and on. Okay. Why won't all ladies have the same thoughts like Anne Mareka? I don't know. I like being very open. I speak very openly because I was a young girl like you. I was a young person also. I also had this relationship, and I speak from my own experience. And again, like any other young person, when I was, when you're getting married, you think of just the physical things, how we will buy a car, how we will get, I don't know how many children, the fashion that you will have, how your home will be. All those things are temporary. It doesn't matter. It doesn't peg it around what you have now. God will help you. You can start from nothing and get everything. We used to live in a servant's quarter, and I remember people would laugh at us. My classmates would ask me, that time it was the time for sugar daddies. Everybody had a man with a big tummy who had a car, but they were married men. But from the virtues that I grew up with, I was told, if you ever get involved with a married man, it means that you are ruining somebody's family, somebody's marriage. So I was so afraid. And you can imagine dating someone, they would laugh at me, that is peer pressure, and would ask now you enter the bus and you hold on to those iron, whatever in the bus, yet you are so cute, you can get a man. And the men of the married men, the men, the friends of my friends, sugar daddies, they really admired, but I stuck with my husband, who was a teacher at Fangani Girls. And everybody would laugh at me that my outings, instead of being taken to Carnival, we would go to Uhuru Park and he buys sugar cane for me and some maize there on the way. And then we sit at the Uhuru Park and speak all the love stories we know. And here we are. We have our own cars, we have our beautiful homes, and we have many things. So it doesn't matter what anyone has now. God will bless you if you keep a healthy and holy relationship. That is one thing I can say. These things of the world will go. My daughters got married also, and I'm happy. I see them being friends. When they got married, the dad would say, wanafuatana huku kwa nyumba, wanakaliana. Then I would say they are sitting on each other. For the one who doesn't hear Kiswahili, he would complain, and I would say, but that is what they saw you do. They saw you holding me. They saw me sitting on you. So why are you getting worked up? But at the end of the day, as a mother, I feel so happy when I see that love. That love after 14 years is still there. That love after 7 years is still there. And my son, who is in the university, every day I'm praying that he will also have a woman who loves him. a woman who will make him feel happy and loved, a woman who will love him just the way he is, with all his weaknesses. If he doesn't know how to twang, the woman who will just understand his language without twanging. That is my prayer as a mother. And that is what a mother prays. And if they don't pray, that's why God has given many mothers who speak to you. Like today, I'm not your mother, but I'm giving you some advice. Whatever your mother has not given you, or maybe had no chance to give you, or maybe you are not open. For me, I know me and my son, I tell him anything. I can discuss any topic because he's my child. He's still my child, whether boy or girl. So I encourage all of you to know that relationships work. And now you are young. I know right now you are locked up in your homes. Just imagine your parents are still going through the same stress and even worse, because some of them are losing their jobs. Some of them might not even be able to pay school fees. Some of them are struggling even to get meals for the day. You don't know what they are going through. Others had taken loans to pay your school fees. And maybe now, because of no salary, they are not able to service their loans. I want you to be patient, to practice patience right now, practice that love, encourage them also, and pray for your relationship. If you have no credit, us, we never used to have phones. We never used to have anything. We would write a letter and then we wait for 2 weeks for the letter to come. And it was very, you would write a letter today, you have to get somebody to go and post it. You have to buy the stamp, and then it goes through the post office sorting. Then the next week it will be sorted out and put in the PO box of your boyfriend. And then he opens the letter and, it took us 2 weeks. Learn to be patient. If you don't have money, it is very sad a young person ended their lives just because of a phone. That patience and the energy that is locked in you. Even Jesus was the Son of God, and he was born in this planet Earth, and he passed through this life without committing any sin. It doesn't mean that he was locked up or he had barbed wires around him that no woman would go near him. Women went around him. I'm sure he also had these games that children do when they were young. Even when he was a teenager, I'm sure there were girls in the neighborhood. But he was able to go through it without sin. It is possible with you. It is possible with anyone. Many relationships are broken nowadays because young people are following the mindset of what our society is teaching. At the end of the day, whatever you are taught, you have the will, you have your will, your strong willpower to decide whether you want to follow that or not. You're not pleasing anyone. The only person we please is God. What would God say about that which the social media or what the society is dictating? If nobody loves you because you're not fashionable, God will bring that person who will just love your fashion. God will always bring someone. That's why Adam had to be put to sleep, because if he was told to select, if God created many women and told him to select, he would be confused. So God did not create 7 supposed to be only one. So nothing is impossible with God. I would want to open the floor. Because I can go on and on. Let me check whether So as I said, let us have healthy relationship. I did not talk about mental health, but mental health, most of the young people, I can imagine, it happens, these pressures that happen around you, and relationships that are breaking, as somebody has mentioned that nowadays the relationships are really breaking. Many people get stressed because of these relationships that are not working. And as we said from the beginning, if you have inner wounds, if you are living in your past, the Bible says very clearly in Isaiah 43 verse 18 and 19, forget about the former things. Because if you depend on the past, you are not helping yourself. That's why if you see a car, it has a long windscreen on top, and then there is only a small mirror where you check the reverse. And on the sides, there are also small mirrors. Yes, you cannot forget about your past, but you can look forward because God still has you in mind and has a good plan for you. So mental health is happening, especially now when you're not going to school, when you're not used to the lifestyle that you have always had. Everybody, even parents, even your small brother, if you have a small brother or sister, even them, they are locked up. So it's just to encourage ourselves and make sure that you are speaking with one another. If you cannot afford data, just ask, I need to just speak to someone. You need to speak to someone, even if it's a text. Do not give up on yourself. Do not feel harassed, because panic attacks, what happens is you start feeling hopeless, you start feeling like you're going to die in the next minute, the heart palpitations. I want you to Google and check panic attacks. Those are the things that you will start feeling, and then you're thinking you're very sick. You even think you have the symptoms of corona. You even think that if you are committing sin, let's say sexual sins, you think your gadgets are going to retire and become obsolete. Nothing like that. So take courage. They are being formed better, and they are becoming even better for the right time. So I hope you people understand when I say those gadgets. So those gadgets are intact and nobody can steal them. Just keep them safe, and wait for the right time when you're not sinning before God, because it shall be beautiful. You will have those things every day on top of the fridge, under the tables, wherever you want at the right time, and nobody will question you and nobody will ask you any question. So there is time for everything. Maybe this conversation can continue another day. So Steve, I open the floor for you, and because I can go on and on.
Thank you very much for your presentation. As we now open the floor, you can check your chats if you have answered all the questions. And I invite my co-host, Lynn, to say a word of thank you and to ask if anybody has a question or comment. And if you have a question, please just raise your hand and we will unmute you. Thank you. Lynn?
Thank you so much, Anne. That was amazing. There's some people saying that they have sent personal questions to your inbox and you haven't answered. But thank you so much. I think the biggest take home message is first starting with loving yourself. And I think that is the best introduction you could have given to this. We will definitely welcome you again so that this conversation can continue. As you've noticed, that it's actually a big issue among us, and a lot of questions are arising from it all, just from our relationships with ourselves. I think personally, we'd like to know more about how to even grow deeper into loving, accepting, loving, and just appreciating ourselves the way we are, and how to now move that into our personal relationships, whether it's with our family members, our friends, or our intimate partners. And thank you so much, even for the participation from the participants. Chat leo imeongelewa here. So thank you so much. We appreciate every single one of you, the questions you've asked. We have learned so much. just from the questions you've asked and even from the responses we've gotten. So thank you so much. Yes. If you have a question, you can raise your hand or just put it in the chat. Yes. Brother, back to you.
Yes, thank you, Lynn. It doesn't have to be a question, even it's just a comment or any point of clarification. You are free to raise your hand or type in her private chat, or you can type in the group.
I have a question. I think nitakuwa nasaidia no, but hapa juu aliraise huko juu. So what's the difference of, and I think you tackled it, but I'd like for you to go deeper. Dating, okay, being in a relationship, dating and courtship. And at what point does getting to know each other fall among those three? Ama it just cuts across from the three, because I feel like knowing each other is always, it's a lifetime kind of thing. So what is the actual difference? Yeah.
Okay, you are cutting. If you don't mind repeating, please.
What is the difference of dating, courtship, being in a relationship? Okay, we know what a situationship is, but yes, what is the difference of all that? And do you ever reach a point now you say, now I know this person, or it's just a lifetime kind of thing?
You know, the time now to get deeper. If I heard you right, I keep on asking that question to different young people. Why? I will start by asking why. Like, for example, if you are going to tell your mom that you have a date, will you say that you have a date, or you just lie that you're going to see your girlfriend, or how would you say it? Because I said every time my children would ask me that they need to go out, so and so have invited, so I would say, I have a date, and they would be so defensive. So I have always tried to see, why does it become defensive? Yes, yet according to me, dating is when you're going to meet someone because you have already arranged a time and a place where you're meeting. Maybe dating could be to go and watch a movie together, because friendships are created by spending a lot of time together. And for me, dating, the way I take it from my old generation, the analog way, dating was to get to know each other by spending a bit of time together before we decide, can we now arrange to go and see your home? I would like to spend my whole time with you, and then we start courtship. Courtship means that now there's some formal introduction where we know this is the person my son is planning to marry, or this is the lady this is the man that my daughter plans to marry. And then we start respecting that space and, advising them and coming in to tell them, this is, if they don't know the traditions, this is what we will say. Because the more dating happens, the more breakings happens, and also commitments are not serious. Because by your generations, people can be dating 7 guys. I don't know how in our generation, I think we were too dull or daft. We couldn't manage even two. So I have seen many people say, I'm dating, I've worked with some girls who would say, I've been dating 3 guys. Now I'm confused. I don't know which one to marry. And we go through the motions together to ask, so why do you want to marry? Because how will you deal with those other relationships? If it is my son, somebody breaks my son's heart, okay, I'll be waiting to cancel him or maybe see that he has been left, because you can't hide the fact. Relationships are so deep that when when the relationships break, anybody can tell. So I don't know whether I've answered your question, because I want us to discuss more what people think about dating. Because for me, as a mother, for me, it is very okay, because I would say sometimes you bring them home, sometimes you want this dating. I don't want you to hide when we're in church. They can't, parents will not come and greet me. Let them come and greet me. I want to know them. I want them to see me, because if you're a guy and you're marrying a lady, it's good to see the parent, because if you're marrying because your wife is so good, look at the mother. Maybe that's the way she will look at that age and make a decision whether you still want to marry if you're looking at the facial expression. So that is the simple way I can put it. Ladies are so concerned about beauty. So courtship, I believe this is it becomes official. That's where you start with the customary, doing the dowry thing, or going to see the girl's place or anything. But dating, you could just be friends, and you make sure this person you're dating, you tell them, I'm not ready for a long-lasting relationship. Let's just be get friends and get to know each other. I respect you. But the moment this guy says, I don't want you to have any other person now, let's get serious. That's courtship. Heading and directing you to marriage. Have I answered? Ask another one, I'm
Yes.
ready. The
Yes,
same
you
one if you
have.
didn't understand.
Nick has raised his hand.
Okay,
So,
where is Nick?
Okay.
Yes, Nick.
I was asking, would you compromise your happiness for a successful relationship?
For me, you're asking me as Anne, yeah?
Yeah.
Successful relation, I compromise my happiness. And it means if God has given me 90 years in this planet Earth, I will have compromised my happiness. I have to think about it very seriously, because I said I don't want to be Mother Teresa. I don't want to sacrifice all through my life. I'm not Jesus. Jesus sacrificed for us, and he means that we should all have happiness. So which happiness am I sacrificing? If I'm sacrificing my happiness to be a miserable person just to get someone, I'll think about it. I would sacrifice if I was already in it, and then I discovered that I'm sacrificing my happiness. Then I would tell God to give me the courage. But if I'm in a relationship which has not led to marriage, I will pray for strength to avoid this kind of, because God wants us to be happy birds.
Okay.
Unless you tell me what kind of sacrifice for happiness, what is your happiness? If your happiness is something that offends God, happiness is to stop pornography watching. That one is okay. You are paving your way to heaven. If happiness is to remain faithful, you will not have kando, mipango ya kando. That is okay. Sacrifice that. If your happiness, I don't know, I'm trying to think aloud. I don't know what you call happiness, Nick. Give me an example of what you can compromise.
Okay. And
for example,
would you lie for the sake of your partner's happiness, and will you define the length?
The length?
Yeah.
The length that you can take that sacrifice?
No, I'm asking, would you lie for the sake of your partner's happiness, and will you define the length?
Me, I wouldn't lie. If you start lie, honestly, when you lie to yourself and lie to God. And how long will you keep that lie?
For months.
Because it's your lifetime, you know? Unless it's, I don't know, unless it's not a serious relationship. Partner meaning you're already engaged and you are sticking together for life. Yeah. Nick, when you say partner, does it mean you're already engaged and it's just those
Let's say dating.
friendships, the relationships? Hi, Nick.
Nasikia.
Nimekuuliza swali. When you speak about partner, does it mean you are already, the person is already engaged or they are already living as partners?
Just a normal relationship. Hakuna engagement.
Una sacrifice happiness yako. Yani you don't want to live forever sacrificing. But a relationship, a marriage, in fact, it's both way. Sacrifice both way. Take halfway, you know, come this far and I come this way, we meet in the middle. Like me, I'm a people person. My husband is a quiet person. So sometimes I really have to come halfway. I have to become the person he is halfway, but I cannot completely become what he is. We are two different people. When God unites two people together, they are completely different.
Okay. And have you ever thought about cheating on your partner? And why?
Like personally?
Yeah.
Thought of cheating. I would say no. But that one, I would say no, I've never thought of cheating. I'm very open. But that one doesn't mean that I haven't had people who were pursuing me when I was still married. But I have learned a lot of these things by just discussing it openly. You know, squeezy, you know, nafungiwa jicho sana ma, you know, I will not of course say who it is, but of course I'll struggle with it. But the what I have done in my life, I'm a very open person. I'll directly ask this person exactly what it is that and why they think they are better than him. And I have a relationship with God, whether to work outside Kenya. I've gone to New York and we are there with workmates. And I could see people cheating, but it has never crossed my mind to say I'm not an angel, but it's not something that I will do. And I did. I don't know how I would even, I think I would die before I feel so guilty. I don't know. You know, every personality is different, but when you have a relationship with God, He will put that self-control in you. I mean that there are not many people who do that, but for me personally, before God, I've never cheated, but I've been pursued, but I fought. I am a kung fu. Okay, I didn't fight physically, but I know it is possible to chill.
Thank you. Bernard?
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you also for your sharing. Yeah, there is something that you highlight that I want to ask question about. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mom. Yeah.
Mhm.
In fact, okay, you try to compare your time and our time, and being a mom,
Yeah.
uh, you could really see the difference between your time and in our time, because uh, our time now, we have this social media, we have many more. Let me say that technology has improved than before, right? Things that are really
Yeah.
affecting some of our relationship, and then courtship, whatever we call it. But my question is, how can we live this relationship or courtship before marriage in our, like, okay, nowadays, whereby you see technology has taken control of many things? Hello.
Oh, the network is giving you trouble a bit.
Or can
Hello?
I repeat the hello?
No. I had until when you're saying comparing our time, and during this time when technology has really improved, and there are many platforms of
Yeah.
social media where different things are happening. So I was
Yeah.
waiting for question now.
Okay. Yes, you see, uh, the reason why let me come to some, like, when your children, we see you, mom and dad, together, is something that we love, and we want to be in the same thing. Like, this is what we want to be till the end of our life. But you see, due to this technology and whatever, okay, our media, improvement in technology, I was asking, how can we live our relationship nowadays, and or our courtship, so that, uh, how do you call it? It will lead us to marriage.
Okay, you're through.
Yes, I'm true, mom.
Um, what I would say is, during our time, by the way, we had technology in a different way. We also
Sure.
had comics that were very, 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 very deep on pornography. Yeah, comics. You know the comics.
Yeah, mom.
So we would look at those things. There was still something. It's only that it was different, but at the end of the day, it goes back to your heart. You know that the heart that said that you should love. You know, there is a lot of things that happen. I know of friends who watch pornography. I know my friends who are still married, and they are involved in sin. So we really have to ask God. I always say, when you have a relationship with God, He gives you self-control, because I know there are all these platforms, and there are people who are my age. I know they go to all those sites that you people go, and it gives them gratification, and it gives them joy. But how long, and what does it do to their relationships? Like someplace, and most, I talk about blowjobs. Blowjobs happens in families. They are not happening to people who are courting. It's happening everywhere, and it's a sin. So what I would tell you is, pray for grace and self-control, because, and that patience that I talked about, God will give you somebody who understands you. These pornography things used to be sold like hotcakes, CDs. You know, when we had the tapes, the recorders of the television where you would put a tape or put a CD and watch, pornography was still there. But it's a decision that you really have to make to yourself, because you people understand even the phone gadgets more than us. You can go any site and get what you want. But at the end of the day, it is a decision that you need to make, and pray that God will help you. And when you are with God and pray, He'll bring the person who has your virtues. Because when you start these addictions when you're young, I'm telling you, even at your age, when your hair is fallen and your nice afro is with white highlights, you'll still be watching pornography. So you still have to start practicing not to. You get. So
Yes,
I go down to back to, who do I please? Do I love God? Do I love who God created? Then from there, everybody you meet, they will love the person you are, because nobody can force you to do anything, even sex. Nobody can force you to do sex. You have to think, and then you think about it, the emotions go, you think about yourself and think about God. Like now, all those 4,000 girls in Machakos County, were those guys who slept with them ready to become fathers? Were they in any relationship? Most people are sinning because they know there is morning after. They know they can have sex anywhere. But are they pleasing God? Are they guarding their purity? Are they guarding their lives? Who wants to please other people and not God? So I know it happens, and it happens automatically, but I'll give an example. If I gave you my white handkerchief, and everybody who is in this group, you keep on passing the handkerchief, by the time it comes back to me, it will be brown. Because everybody who gets into your life, they leave a stain. And we are told, when spirits lie down together, you inherit all the curses in that family. You inherit all the things that happen in that family. People don't believe that, but it happens. So an example of that very white handkerchief I give to you, then you give to Brother Steve there, then you keep it. By the time it comes back to me, to be brown. It's about our lives. You keep on putting marks. You keep on putting marks. You carry emotions of people. You start becoming, even if you get the best cars in the world, you'll be a miserable person, full of lust. When you see any skirt wearer, there you are. It doesn't matter whether they are 80 years or 20. So the spirit comes and enters you. So what I would say to your question is, self-control. God is able to give you what you want. Ask for grace. When the ding-dongs, that those gadgets rise, you tell God, please control it. He's able to do it. Yeah? There's nothing that God cannot do, because He created you and He knows how every item works in your body. So even when you feel like that, tell the Lord, please contain me, can you have this Mr. P sleep now? Because it's not wise and it's not holy.
Thank you. Stanley? I saw your hand up. You can unmute and ask the question. No, I'm talking to Stanley. He had a question. I saw his hand up. I can see a
question here.
Yes.
Somebody says they can never give a white handkerchief to someone. Okay. There's a question from a girl's perspective. What would you do if you have been friends for a while with a certain guy? There is some sort of chemistry in between, but you are not able to reach out to the guy to discuss if there should be a relationship or not, or how to navigate through the friendship. That one, I think it's very easy. There's no rocket science in this. You really have to communicate your feelings. Whenever you feel that you have feelings towards someone, it's better to communicate them. And it's wise, it's advisable, you communicate, keep communicating. If you put it away, you cannot send. During our generation, I would ask my best friend or my cousin who knows that guy to go and try to connect the wires. Nowadays, there is no one who can connect wires for you. you guys are ahead of things. So communication through what talk about your feelings. Do not shelter them. It's not a weakness. It doesn't show that you're weak. Just say it. If you're saying truthfully from your heart.
Thank you. Before Bernard, was your question answered? I've unmuted you. Hello, Bernard. Can you unmute?
Okay. Yeah. In fact, I was willing to ask mom, like, for this relationship or courtship to lead us till marriage, right from the beginning, can we, let me say, set some objectives?
You know, when you have a friend, everything you communicate to, you agree. You see, when you have a friend, you will discuss to agree or disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you set objectives, like any project, it helps you to check yourself. You have a checklist. You have a checklist. Because when you just go, like now somebody has just asked, they have feelings and they feel there is chemistry. And how do they tell this other person? That person is not God. They can't learn what the heart of that other person is feeling. But you talk about it, but be ready to be disappointed. Because sometimes somebody will say, what? At you love me, you know, and they have never thought that they can even have any chemistry with you, because there are people who are so, you know, they will not hide what they feel in their hearts. So it's good to communicate expecting to have positive or negative response, and then you move on. There is somebody else for you waiting. God has already one person. Each one of you has a man or a woman somewhere. And they say beautiful ones are not yet born.
Thank you for answering my question. I'm very happy.
Okay.
Yes, Anne Gachoki, you can unmute yourself. Anne Gachoki. Okay, she's not unmuting. Stanley?
You know, people are tired now, I think.
No, they have raised their hands, so I'm trying to unmute them. Stan, okay, go ahead, Stan.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Hi.
The question I wanted to ask was, is it okay for someone to stay in a relationship where you are compromising so much for the sake of the other person's happiness?
I would say no. Why are you giving yourself a second hand, and why are you sticking there? Are you going to stick forever? And if God wants you to leave, if you're compromising because you really want to marry this person, with all those things that you are compromising to make them happy, are they also doing something to make you happy? And you are still young. Why should you sacrifice your happiness and be there sacrificing every day, like SOS, and maybe pleasing someone? You know, God doesn't want you to please anyone. He wants you to make him as the only person you please. Do not make anyone an idol. An idol. Talk about it. Just say, I sacrifice A, B, C, D, and I want us to sit and discuss. If we cannot deal with it, I don't think it's fair for me to deal with it forever in my life. if that person is genuine, they will understand. Maybe you've been sacrificing and they don't even notice it. Maybe they do not know what you go through. So again, communication, communication. Speak about your feelings, speak about what you go through to make them happy. Let them also bring in what, marriage is about bring and I bring, and we put everything together on the table. And then I will know that she is sacrificing this and I'm sacrificing this. Then it will not hurt me. Eventually it will bring me happiness. Stanley.
Yes. And what if the said partner doesn't, is not that.
Huh? You are breaking, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was saying,
Hmm.
what if on the line of communication the other person is not that good at it, and the more you try to make them open up to you, the more they deflect and change the subject.
Stanley, I'm sure you're a handsome, fearfully and wonderfully made person. And maybe that relationship is not meant to be, because how long are you going to try to get somebody to communicate? And if you want to spend lifetime with that person, how will you communicate about your careers and your children? And how you will buy properties or how you will do things together? Because a relationship, a marriage is companionship. Even from the beginning, when Adam was in the garden, when Eve was created, God said, I have brought you a companionship, a helper. A helper is somebody who communicates, somebody who is ready to help you achieve something, somebody who is supposed to be with you, to keep you company. Pray about it. If you're in that, don't give up on yourself. Anybody can change. That person who is not able to communicate, they can open up. But it depends also from their checklist. Maybe there is something they're dealing with. That's why I said communication will help you discuss about your past and those things that traumatized you. And then you're able to move together now from a common ground. You break the ice.
Thank you very much, Mom. Now, I think people have oversat and got
Yeah,
tired.
Mom wants to go and sleep now.
Yes, I now ask Lynn to give a vote of thanks, and then we will pray and close the meeting.
Maybe
Anybody?
I can say.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe I can say something. This is the first time I have had this with you guys. Maybe you've not seen me personally. I would really want to thank all of you for taking your time to listen to my many talks. And thanks, son, Steve, for giving me this opportunity. I also want to say thank you to all of you, and to, as a mother, I will also pray for you. I'll say a short prayer. And I am also happy because my son was in this group you didn't know. I know he joined. So if my son, if I said anything that offended you, you forgive me. But for me and him, there are no secrets. We discuss every topic. So I wasn't ashamed to say anything. Thank you so much for your participation. And I can see it was a happy moment. Although I know many people left, they got sleepy. I don't know. So over to you, Lynn.
And thank you so much. People are saying you come again, so I'm going to say that. Please come again. And we welcome you to have a more discussion. It may not be just for relationship, but everything else. Thank you for being a mother to us, because you've talked to us like a mother would. And I feel like that is what is lacking, like having that openness where you can just ask your questions with no judgment. and no criticism, and just be answered as honest as possible and with no negative intention. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you for everyone who asked a question, who participated, who listened to, who joined us today. It wouldn't have been this awesome if you guys weren't there. And the questions actually made, I think tumefanya tumeanza kufikiria sasa hata kizungu imepotea. We have started thinking a lot about what we are going through, what we have, and reflecting about ourselves. And I think that was the aim and purpose of all this, just enabling us to be able to reflect on our own lives and what are the changes we need to make so that we can be happy in happy and fulfilling relationships with ourselves first and then with others. So thank you so much. Thank you, brother, for always organizing these talks and discussions. We thank you so much, even for agreeing to do this. We know it's not easy on your part, and we want to say thank you for taking the time to do it. And a lot of people are saying thank you, and please come back again. I agree. Please come back again. Yes. And yeah, I think I'm done. Yes, and pray for us. We will pray for you too.
Thank you, Lynn. And Mom, since you are a mother to us, I'll ask you to pray for us, then everybody can go to their bed if they want to sleep. I have unmuted you.
So
And we can ask Martin to say hi before you pray.
And guys asking your son's name.
He is called Martin. Let me unmute him. Martin, I've unmuted you.
Okay, I can say I cannot stay hidden any longer. Okay, my name is Martin Mareka. Though here I've decided to put the name Gondo just so that I can confuse some people. Yeah.
Thank you, Martin, and welcome, Mom. You can pray for us.
So
You have muted. We can't hear you. Unmute.
I had unmuted.
You muted again.
No.
Okay,
Wait,
good.
I'm not so backward. So again, as a mother, as you said, as I said, my firstborn is 37, so I have a right to, and I am honored to pray for you and to bless you. This prayer, I pray as a mother to each one of you, whatever you are going through, may the Lord go before you in your hopelessness, in your confusion, in every desperation that you are in, especially now when you see like your future is already doomed, especially now when you have to patiently interact with your families, those who are in big families, and you have to really keep on interacting and meeting in different corners of the house. The lack of even having credit to chat for long hours with your friends. Also the lack of maybe even having no money to be in the internet, or you don't have Wi-Fi. The hopelessness of thinking that your education is delayed. Those who are in relationships, the worry and the anxiety of not knowing whether you're in the right relationship or whether this relationship will lead to marriage. or whether this relationship, you are able to handle it without committing sin. Those who are intimately involved, getting the grace to stop sinning because God sees everything. Those who are doing those things that God says do not do. I am really praying for grace right now, that the Lord will give you the grace to overcome your temptations and to overcome any sin that you're struggling with, any bad habit, that the Lord will help you. And I pray that the Lord will give you joy, and that when this pandemic is over, your doors will open. The doors will open, the doors of your education career, getting jobs, getting internships, and being able to build your career path, and also having healthy and reliable relationships. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Father, we want to thank you this evening because you're faithful, because your love endures forever. We want to thank you, Lord, because you know these children, each one of them by name, oh God, and you decree and declare that you have everlasting love for them. Oh Lord, you decree and declare that you will never leave them, you will never forsake them. Your word in Jeremiah 29 verse 11 says, the plans that you have for each one of them are plans to prosper them, to give them a hope and to give them a future. Father, I thank you because you're faithful. You will walk with them. You will uphold them with your righteous right hand of victory. Fill their hearts with joy. May their relationship work. May you go before them in every decisions that they make in life, oh God. May you remember their parents or their guardians in a very special way, oh Lord. May you provide for them that they may be able to give them the upkeep they deserve, and also be able to settle them in their education careers, oh God. Be merciful to them. Fill them with your joy and fill them with your love. We pray all this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Ciao, ciao.
Martin, there's public request that they want to see your face. Martin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, now they have seen you. Okay, thank you very much, all of you, and may God bless each and every one of you, and have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.